Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is huge. With a video of Don Lemon basically admitting that he is committing criminal acts or that he conspired to commit crimes. Check this out. This is huge. And we'll get to the analysis of what he's talking about after you watch this. Number one, really quickly, it is against the law to stop. It's against federal law to stop a church service or go into any house of worship of any religion and stop the service. That's against federal law. It is also against the law to yell into someone's face. That's either assault as a misdemeanor or felony, depending on if the person fears for their lives. Number two, the FACE Act protects churches. He faces potentially years in jail for conspiring to break federal laws pertaining to the FACE Act. This is Don Lemon literally admitting that he's going to catch people, surprise people, catch them off guard, hold them accountable. None of this is journalism. This is all an admission to criminal activity. You can't, as a morally superior liberal, catch people off guard and hold them accountable, because that's not your job as a human being. If anyone is to be held accountable, if they're a criminal, the police hold them accountable, not the morally superior liberal or progressive or leftist. You can't do these things. You learn them in kindergarten. Can't go and yell in people's faces, surround them, intimidate them, stop church worshiping, stop a service at a holy place or a house of worship. Can't do that. Can't do these things. Biden's ICE, by the way, deported 685,000 people by one estimate in 2024. Not one Don Lemon church protest, not one ICE tracking device was used during Biden's ICE deportation spree. This is one of the reasons why this is so insidious, because the wonderful morally superior left picks and chooses the times to be morally superior. When Biden's ICE was arresting people inside the country, interior arrests that were not impeded by violent, quote-unquote, protests, they were allowed to do so. And then people say, well, how come all these things, all these images didn't take place and people didn't lose their lives under Biden? Yeah, well, there wasn't an organized, funded chaos and mayhem on the ground. ICE agents under Biden and President Obama were allowed to do their jobs because the morally superior liberals and progressives and leftists are very happy when they hold power and deport people. But when people are being deported under Trump, suddenly it's a moral offense. But anyway, listen to this.
Into Minneapolis a little bit ago and did some reconnaissance on the ground. I'm speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together. Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we were like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? So the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance.
Why would the American flag be MAGA coded? Is Don Lemon saying that the left is not proud of being American or the American flag? That it would be associated with conservatives or Trump supporters? Why would the American flag be associated with supporters of President Trump? Oh, maybe because many of the people protesting don't like the country, don't like the flag. I don't know. But that's an interesting tell right there.
Protesters, they're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up. And it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account.
Surprising people, catching them off guard, and holding them to account, if Don Lemon knew this was going to happen, which he just told you that he did, is illegal. You can't surprise people and catch them off guard and hold them accountable. because you think that you're the judge and the jury and the person to enforce your version of morality when you didn't do so when Biden was deporting hundreds of thousands of people. By one estimate, over 3 million people were removed from the country because he allowed 8 to 10 million in. So the numbers of deportations were very high. There's a New York Times article why deportations were higher under Biden than Trump's first term. Not one word from Don Lemon. No, none of these protesters held anyone to account. The issue is that if you're a morally superior, a highly educated, liberal or progressive or leftist, you don't have the right to break the law and intimidate people because you lost every single swing state, battleground state. You lost the popular vote, and you removed Biden from contention after he won his primary, just like he cheated Bernie Sanders. The most immoral, unethical, corrupt political party that exists today might possibly be the Democratic Party. But let's continue.
And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, I can't tell you where they're going.
So towards the end here, these operations are surprise operations. We can't tell you where they're going. He is literally admitting that he has conspired or that he had foreknowledge or that he knew people were going to break into a church. In case you didn't know, it is illegal under federal law to stop any service in any religion of a house of worship, to go into a house of worship of any religion in the United States of America and disrupt the worshipers is a federal crime. The FACE Act also protects churches. Okay, so that is what they did was a federal crime. It was not holding anyone to account, and it wasn't a reckoning, and all of these, all this doublespeak, this Orwellian language used to mask the reality that crimes are committed. Okay, yelling in someone's face, by the way, can be viewed is legally constituted can legally be viewed as assault if the person reasonably fears bodily harm. But of course, what kind of person goes and yells into someone's face in a church? Oh, the morally superior who said nothing when Biden was deporting hundreds of thousands of people. Deportations were higher under Biden, okay? And if they were just the same amount as Trump's first term, or Trump's first term was just a little bit more than Biden's, the issue is that nobody on the left made any type of protest or tracking of ICE or impeding or obstructing law enforcement. Criminal conspiracy is an agreement between two people or more online. So the issue here is that he faces a grand jury indictment, him and his producer. What they did was illegal. What they did was they had knowledge, and this is the New York Times, New York Post article. Video proves Don Lemon was embedded with anti-ICE agitators before they stormed church, despite claiming no affiliations. He basically admits that he knew that what they were going to do, he thought it was wonderful, or he thought it was moral or ethical or whatever, and he admitted that he was storming he admitted that he knew knowledge of criminal activity. Again, this is where he really admits all of it.
Which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we're like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? So the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up. And it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, I can't tell you where they're going.
These operations are surprise operations. We can't tell you where they're going. In other words, he's admitting these operations are illegal. They are committing potentially, federal crime was, people broke federal laws. And like, they didn't do so. The same protesters that broke federal laws in that church didn't do so when Biden was deporting hundreds of thousands of people. And nobody deported more than President Obama. Nobody. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. Be here for the live stream later. And go to H.A. Goodman's other channel right now.